friends, welcome to Cousin Speech. Grab a floaty, grab a snack, grab a drink. We have much to discuss because season 3 of Summer I Turned Pretty comes out very, very soon. I just finished listening to the audiobook not that long ago. I rewatched the trailer, examined it, went back and highlighted some stuff. I downloaded a PDF. Why did I say PDF? An ebook version. That sounded very professional to me. I'm like in a college class. I have the PDF. No, I got an ebook version that I like highlighted and tabbed and stuff. So we're gonna talk about this. This might be a little long, but I think we'll have a great time. And because I don't know anyone in my real life who like watches this show and wants to like freak out with me, I need somewhere to like vent my feelings to, so the internet is where I go. So make sure you leave some comments about your own thoughts, theories as I go along, because I want someone to blab about this with. And you perhaps do too. So this could work out really well for both of us. Okay, anyways, yes, this is gonna be kind of like a trailer breakdown, connections from the trailer to the book, what I think is going to be in the show, kind of how that's going storyline wise, and then possible stuff that may not be in there, or just like changes that are done. It's just a gap session, okay? Why am I pretending like this is very structurally and thought out? It's not that structurally thought out, but it's the enthusiasm that counts. So season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty drops next Wednesday, and I for one am very excited. I also am kind of sad that this is going to be the last season. By this time next year, are we going to get off campus? Perhaps, because we need a show of the summer. There's also been a lot of talks about this show and how it is technically not ending in summer, which is, well, that's not true. It's ending in September, but September feels non-summery, even though technically it is summertime. Now, I don't want to waste too much of your time because I have a feeling this video is going to run long. So I'm going to pull up the official trailer. It's been out for about 3 weeks. This is my first reaction to it, but I am going to be breaking down some of it. Just so you know. Let's press play so we can chat.
First loves are important.
Starting off with Belly out the car, reminiscing on season 1. It's kind of crazy because she looks so little. This is what, 3 years ago in our time. Her seeing Conrad for the first time. They make a little comment with the glasses. Very cute. Also, it's going to be very obvious very quickly that I am in fact a Belly Conrad girly. And honestly, can you believe me? We are 4 seconds in and she's reminiscing about him. What do you expect from me? I will say though, season 1, I haven't seen it in a while, but season 1, I was like, okay, I could see either or. Like, she could totally end up with Jerry and I'd be content. In the present day, I no longer feel that way. Talking about first loves, we get... I can't pause. Okay, last loves. Enter Jeremiah Fisher, according to her. We also see like a little peek of cousins. Come back to the specific scene in a little bit because I think it's better if we go chronologically. Else now that I saw you. Side note. Okay, we'll get to the Agnes part. The first time I heard Daylight into Red.
Hey.
Open up the book. This starts with it being finals of Bella's freshman year of college. She is at Finch University. She has a new best friend named Annika, and then Taylor's also here. Taylor and her are no longer as close because Taylor's like with her sorority friends a lot of the time. I know also, in case you did not know, Taylor and Steven are a TV show only thing and do not exist in the books, which quite frankly, one of the biggest downfalls. Because Steven and Taylor have my entire heart. Jeremiah's frat is throwing an end of the year party, and this is kind of like the catalyst for the entire book / season. We also find out that he's going to be interning at his father's company for the summer, and she's going to go back to waitressing at Bears. We also find out the length of their relationship, and they've been together for 2 years. There may or may not have been a little bit of a break at some point. We'll get back to that.
We were on a break!
Lacey, oh Lacey, do we know if Olivia Rodrigo read the Summer I Turned Pretty books? It's totally possible she did. Lacey Barone wearing skinny jeans and a silky tank top and plaited leather red heels that probably brought her up to 5'4" at most. Talking to Jeremiah, Lacey was a social chair of Zeta Phi, and she was a junior, a year older than Jer. 2 years older than me. Her hair was dark brown, cut in a swishy bob. She was petite. She was, by anybody's standards, hot. According to Taylor, she had a thing for Jeremiah. I told Taylor it didn't bother me one bit, and I meant it. Why should I care? Oh, honey. Honey, honey. So Belly's at this frat party and gets beer spilled on her, so she has to go to the bathroom to clean up. And oh, what does she hear? As I stood there dabbing at my dress, I heard girls on the other side talking. I wasn't really paying attention until I heard Lacey's voice. I heard her say, He looks hot tonight, right? Another voice said, he always looks hot. She was slurring as she said, hell yeah, he does. The other girl said, I'm so jealous. You got to hook up with him. Gasp of the century, ladies. That's not in the book. I'm commentating. In a sing-song voice, Lacey says, whatever happens in Cabo stays in Cabo. I feel dizzy all of a sudden. I lean my back against the bathroom door to steady myself. There is no way she's talking about Jeremiah. No way. Someone banged on the door and I jumped. Without thinking, I opened it. Lacey's hand flew to her mouth when she saw me. The look on her face was like a punch in the stomach. I felt physical pain. I could hear the other girl's sharp intakes of breath. I felt like I was sleepwalking as I moved past her and the girls down the hallway. I couldn't believe it. It couldn't be true. Not my Jer. So nice to go talk to Jer. Giving her a walk to the room. I need to talk to you. Just a second, Bells, he says. No, now. Side note, one thing that I will give Jeremiah in the belly jars is that I do love that he calls her Bells. I think that's really, really cute. The guys all start cracking up and going, ooh, somebody's in trouble. Fisher's so whipped. I waited. Jeremiah must have seen something in my eyes because he followed me inside, up the stairs and into his bedroom. I shut the door behind me. What's going on? He asked me, looking all concerned. I practically spat the words. Did you hook up with Lacey Barone during spring break? Jeremiah's face turned white. What? Did you hook up with her belly? I knew it. I whispered. I knew, even though I didn't know. Not really. I didn't know anything. You know how in Friends, there's like the Ross and Rachel, were they on a break? Call me crazy, again, because I am a belly Conrad. I do in fact think they were on a break. However, you should have told her. 1,000%.
He's the one who slept with someone else.
Well, I guess he says that because they were on a break when it happened, that she should have forgiven him by now.
Whoa, he is so unreasonable. God. Although, I think I understand what he means.
I kneeled down beside me and tried to help me up, but I slammed his hand away. Don't touch me. He got down to the floor next to me, his hand hanging between his knees. Belly. It was when we were on a break. We were broken up. Our so-called breakup lasted all of a week. It wasn't a real breakup, not for me. I always assumed we would get back together. I had cried the whole week while he had been in Cabo kissing Lacey Barone. You knew we weren't really broken up. You knew it wasn't real. Miserably, he said. How was I supposed to know that? If I knew, you should have known. Which, by the way, Belly, no Tina shade. That's probably not the best answer there. Also, in fact, did remind me of like the conversation her and Conrad had last season when he's like, yeah, I was in love with you. But you never say, he's like, I thought you knew. He thought she knew and now she thought he knew. The he in question is a different he. But still, only people communicated. Granted, they're like 19, so I guess it makes sense, but still. Lacey kept following me around all week. She wouldn't leave me alone. I swear to you, I didn't want to hook up with her. It just happened. That's what he says. I didn't want to think about the two of them. Didn't want to picture it. Be quiet, I said. I don't want to hear it. It was a mistake. A mistake? You call that a mistake? A mistake is when you left my shower shoes in the shower and they got mildewy. I had to throw them out. That's a mistake, you jerk. I didn't say anything. He just sat there and took it, his head hanging low. I don't even know who you are anymore. My stomach lurched. I think I'm gonna be sick. He then like fully confessed that they slept together and she's like appalled because she thought it was just a kiss. But then she says yes to a marriage proposal like 20 pages later. Let's think about that. But before that happens, she does slap him in the face. It reminded me of when Laurel slaps her in the face. I wonder which slap was harder. Before I knew it, my hand was striking his face. I slapped him as hard as I could. I wasn't even thinking. I was just doing. My hand left a splotchy red imprint on his cheek. We stared at each other. I couldn't believe I had hit him, and neither could he. The shock was just beginning to register on his face, and I probably had the same look on mine. I'd never hit anyone before. Well, now you have, babe. Now you have. And then she runs to her dorm, which also is another part in the trailer. Topic of the trailer. Let's go back to it. This is Conrad talking to Agnes. Which this scene, I'd be absolutely shocked.
What was her name?
Belly.
Combo that he has with Agnes. So Agnes is someone he meets. Where is my app? In college. Her name was Agnes. A lot of people called her Aggie, but I stuck with Agnes. She was in my chem class. On any other girl, a name like Agnes wouldn't have worked. It's an old lady name. Agnes had short, dirty blonde hair. It was wavy, and she had cut it to her chin. Sometimes she wore glasses, and her skin was as pale as milk. When we were waiting for the lab to open one day, she asked me out. I was so surprised. I said yes. We started hanging out a lot. I liked being around her. She was smart and her hair carried the smell of her shampoo. Not just fresh out of the shower, but the whole day. We had spent most of our time together studying. Sometimes we'd go get pancakes or burgers after. Sometimes we'd hook up in her room during a study break when her roommate wasn't around. But it was all centered around both of us being pre-med. It wasn't like I spent the night in her room or invited her to stay in mine. I didn't hang out with her and her friends or meet her parents, even though they lived nearby. One day when we were sitting in the library, the semester was almost over. We'd been dating almost 3 months. Out of nowhere, she asked me, have you ever been in love? Not only was Agnes good at chem, she was really good at catching me off guard. I looked around to see if anyone was listening. Have you? I asked you first, she said. Then yes. How many times? Once. Agnes absorbed my answer as she chewed on her pencil. On a scale of 1 to 10, how in love were you? You can't put being in love on a scale, I said. Either you are or you aren't. But if you had to say, I started flipping through my notes and I didn't look at her when I said 10. What was her name?
Belly.
The clip? Oh, I'm still not over it. It's been weeks. Agnes made a pouty face, kicked my light under the table. If you don't tell me, I won't be able to concentrate. Please, just humor me. I let out a short breath. Isabel. Satisfied? Shaking her head, she said, now you tell me how you met. Agnes, I swear I'll stop if you answer. I watched her count in her head. 3 more questions. 3, and that's it. I didn't say yes or no. I just looked at her waiting. So, how did you meet? We never really met. I just always knew her. When did you know you were in love? I didn't have an answer to that question. There hadn't been one specific moment. It was like gradually waking up. You go from being asleep to a space in between dreaming and awake and then into consciousness. It's a slow process. But when you're awake, there's no mistaking it. There's no mistaking that you have been in love. But I wasn't going to say that to Agnes. I don't know what just happened. She looked at me waiting to go on. You have one more question? I said. Are you in love with me? Like I said, the girl's really good at catching me off guard. I didn't know what to say because the answer was no. Her face fell and she tried to sound upbeat as she said, so no, huh? Well, are you in love with me? I could be. If I let myself. I think I could be. Oh, I felt like a piece of shit. I'm so serious when I said when I saw that scene in the trailer, I screamed. I screamed, like a yell came out of me, okay? The trailer goes into a flashback, which by the way, Belly doesn't sleep with Conrad in the book series. So like that's gonna be a new interesting take because she also doesn't with Jeremiah, which it looks like she does based on the trailer. So like that's gonna be a change of storyline there. Because one of the things Belly has is like, oh, Jeremiah has this with Lacey that he doesn't have with me. So like mentally Belly's gonna be different there. At least we can assume. Because it would be crazy if she was dating this guy for how long and she hasn't slept with him, but she has with his brother. Like that's Belly. Jeremiah is her present, oh no, her future. These, I'm assuming, are gonna be flashback because she's a little too happy to have just been cheated on. This one specifically, I think, is from her college move-in day where she decides that she no longer goes by Belly, but she will go by Isabel. We find out chapter 16 that she never intended to go by Isabel. It kind of just happened. All my life, everyone had called me Belly and I didn't really have a say in it. For the first time in a long time, I did have a say. It didn't occur to me until Jeremiah, my mom, my dad, and me were standing in the front of my dorm room door on freshman move-in day. My dad and Jeremiah were lugging the TV. My mom had a suitcase and I was carrying my laundry basket with all my toiletries and picture frames. So it was pouring down my dad's back in his maroon button-down that had 3 wet spots. Jeremiah was sweating too, since he had been trying to impress my dad all morning by insisting on bringing up the heaviest stuff. It made my dad feel awkward, I could tell. Hurry, Belly, my dad said, breathing heavy. She's Isabel now, my mother said. This next scene could either be when they're like house hunting and they're playing house, being like, this is what it would be like. Well, they're not house hunting, they're apartment hunting. Post engagement. We'll get to that. Or it could just be Jeremiah's frat. I don't know. Talk about the engagement stuff when we get to that part in the trailer because they doesn't show the actual proposal or like what leads up to the proposal, just them finding out. We have this right here. Well, this here is actually like Susanna and Laurel. But when Jeremiah is speaking, doing a garden to honor Susanna, Jeremiah speaks. And we actually get this chapter through Conrad's point of view. The book is in Belly and Conrad's point of view. The previous book is in Belly and Jeremiah's point of view. And book 1 is just in Belly's point of view. So if you didn't know, in the audiobook versions, they're narrated by the same actors who play them. So like that's really fun because it feels so much more real. And it felt like I was already watching the show. The show's not even out yet. But I feel like I already saw it. And I look forward to seeing it once more. I saw her before she saw me. Belly. This is through Conrad's point of view. In the front row, I saw her sitting with my dad and Laurel and Stephen. She had her hair pulled back, pinned up at the sides. I had never seen her wear her hair like that before. She had on a light purple dress. She looked grown up. It occurred to me that she had grown up while I wasn't looking and that there was every likelihood that she had changed and I didn't know her anymore. But when she stood up to clap, I saw the band-aid on her ankle and I recognized her again. She was Belly. She kept messing with the barrettes on her hair when coming with. My plane had delayed, and even though I had done 80 the whole way to Cousins, I was still late. Jeremiah was starting his speech when I just walked in. There was an empty seat up front next to my dad, but I just stood in the back. I saw Laurel shift in her seat, scanning the room before turning back around. She didn't see me. A woman from the shelter got up and thanked everyone for coming. She talked about how great my mom was, how dedicated she was to the shelter, how much money she had raised for it, how much awareness in the community. She said my mom was a gift. It was funny. I had known my mom was involved in the women's shelter, but I didn't know how much she gave of herself. I felt a jolt of shame as I remembered the time she had asked me to go help her serve breakfast. One Saturday morning, I had blown her off, told her I had stuff I needed to do. Then Jared got up, went to the podium. "Thanks, Mona," he said. "Today means so much to us, and I know it would have meant even more to my mom. The women's shelter was really important to her. Even when we weren't here in Cousins, she was still thinking about you guys. And she loved flowers. She used to say she needed them to breathe. She would have been so honored by this garden." It was a good speech. Our mother would have been practicing him up there. I should have been there with him. She would have really liked that. She would have really liked the roses too. I watched Jared sit down in the front row, the seat next to Belly. I watched him take her hand. The muscles in my stomach clenched. I moved behind a woman in a wide brim hat. This was a mistake. Coming here was a mistake. If only he had known, it's about to get so much worse. Because after this whole situation, they go have dinner, and that's when Jeremiah can't read the room. Fisher brings up his engagement, which, by the way, Belly the entire time is like, "I kind of don't think we should tell them. We probably shouldn't tell them. It's probably not a great time." And he's like, "No, we shouldn't." She's like, "I really don't want this to happen. I'm really scared, actually." Like, they also had previously gone out to dinner. Belly, Jeremiah, and her dad. And first off, she's like, Jeremiah is so out of touch. Like, he's ordering the most expensive thing on the menu. But also, she's like, "We probably should tell him that we're getting married, but I don't want him to know. I don't want him to know." Also, this face right here, this is the face of a woman who shaved her legs twice on the off chance that her fiance's brother might be in the room. She's so serious. But also, in the trailer, here, we have Belly being like,
I'm sorry, what?
in the book, it's Jeremiah that's supposed to be. And Belly's like, "Please don't do it, please don't do it, please don't do it," the entire time. "Maybe we shouldn't tell him today," I said suddenly. "Maybe we should wait." Jeremiah turned up the music. "What do you mean?" "I don't know, maybe today should just be with Susanna and the family. Maybe we should wait." They don't wait. He, in fact, does not wait. "I have something to say," Jeremiah announces. While everyone was waiting to hear what it was, I snuck a look over at Conrad. This bitch is looking at Conrad while she's about to announce her fucking engagement. He had his arm draped over the back of Steven's chair. They had been laughing about something. His face was easy and relaxed. It's not staying like that for long. I had this wild impulse to stop Jeremiah, to clap my hand over his mouth and keep him from saying it. Everyone was so happy. This was going to wreck it. She knows, and she's not wrong. It does. It most definitely does. "I'll go ahead and warn you. It's really good news." Jeremiah flashed a smile at everyone, and I braced myself. He was being too glib, I thought. My mother wouldn't like it. I asked Belly to marry me, and she said yes. She said yes, we're getting married this August. It's like the restaurant got really quiet all of a sudden. Like all the noise and chatter got sucked out of the room. Everything just stopped. I looked across the table at my mother. Her face was ashen. Stephen choked on the water he was drinking. Coughing. He said, "What the?" And Conrad, his face was completely blank.
Did you know this? No.
The waiter then shows up being like, "Entrees, people?" Bad timing. Bad timing on the waiter. She glances over at her mother. She opened and then closed her mouth. She looked right at me and asked, "Are you pregnant?" I felt all the blood rush to my cheeks beside me. I could feel rather than hear Jeremiah choke. My mother's voice shook as she said surely, "I don't believe this. How many times have we discussed contraception, Isabel?" I could not be more mortified. I looked at Mr. Fisher, who was beet red. By the way, she does say, "Mom, I'm not pregnant." But Mr. Fisher has no fucking clue that Belly and Conrad were a thing. Because when Conrad shows up, him and Belly are like, "Hey." And he's like, "Oh, it's Conrad and his little sister." Don't tell Mr. Fisher about the activities that Conrad did with his little sister. What, like 2 years ago? He'd be appalled. Earnestly, Jeremiah said, "Laurel, I swear to you, it's nothing like that." Laurel also in this book is so like pro Conrad. Like they hang out, they talk about Susanna, they really do just bond, and Jeremiah is not. Laurel's like favorite person. Mother ignored him. She looked over at me. "Then what's happening here? Where is this coming from?" My lips felt really dry all of a sudden. Fleetingly, I thought of what had led up to Jeremiah's proposal, and just as quickly thought that away. You want to know why? Because the only reason Jeremiah proposes is because he fucking cheats on her and gets caught. Like, he's literally like, "I cheated on you, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "I could never trust you again." And he says, "What if we got married?" Okay, that's basically how our fucking proposal happened. In case you think I'm fucking kidding, I have it highlighted. I will read verbatim. I said, "How would I know you wouldn't do it again? How would I be able to trust that?" He got up for a second. I thought he was leaving. My heart nearly stopped. But then he got down on one knee right in front of me, softly, very softly. He said, "You could marry me." At first, I wasn't sure I heard him right. And then he said it again, this time louder, "Marry me." He reached into his jean pocket and pulled out a ring, a silver ring with a little diamond in the center. It would be for starters, until I could afford to pay for a ring myself, with my money, not my dad's. He buys her a fucking ring with his dad's money. That's another topic for another day. I couldn't feel my body. He was still talking and I couldn't hear him. All I could do was stare at the ring and say, "She's completely blocking this out." As she should, as she should. I love you so much. These past couple of days have been hell for me without you. Take a breath. I'm so sorry for hurting you, Bells. What I did, it was unforgivable. I know that it hurt us. I'm going to work really hard to get you to trust me again. I'll do whatever it takes. If you would let me, would you be willing to let me try? I don't know, I whispered. She says, I don't know, to her fucking marriage proposal. I swallowed and his Adam's apple bobbed up and down. I'll try so hard, I swear to you. We'll get an apartment off campus. We can fix it up real nice. I'll do the laundry. I'll learn how to cook stuff other than ramen and cereal. That is his fucking proposal. I'm sorry I cheated on you. Marry me, question mark? She still has at least one working brain cell. She says, you want to erase what you did by marrying me? No, that's not what this is. What happened the other night, he hesitated. It made me realize something. I don't want to be without you, ever. You are the only girl for me, and I've always known it. In this whole world, I will never love another girl the way I love you. I look at his hand again. This time I pull away from him. Do you still love me? He asked. I swallowed. Yes, then please, marry me. I said, you can't ever hurt me like that. Again, it was half warning, half plea. I won't, he said, and I knew he meant it. If there was ever a question of who Belly was going to end up with, keep in mind that she just got proposed to, right? The chapter ends with, the future was river-headed. I'm turning the page. Chapter 12. That night, I dreamed of Conrad. Ever a question? Was it ever a question? I know people are concerned that they're going to go with the, she picks herself at the end. And we'll touch on that because she kind of also does pick herself in the book. And picking herself ultimately leads to Conrad, which I also think is how they're going to work with it in the TV show. In case it hasn't been clear, Laura does not approve of this marriage at all. Not in the slightest. After the announcement, Belly was supposed to go with Jeremiah, and she's like, no, you're not. You're coming home. And then, like, completely ices her out in her own home and, like, refuses to speak to her. And is like, I'm not going to support this wedding at all. I'm not going to the wedding. I'm not going to the bridal shower. Figure it out. She eventually does change her mind, mostly because Conrad goes to her and is like, hey, Belly's having a really hard time, because he overhears her one day crying and is like, you need to be there. So she does end up being there. We'll get to how Conrad hears her crying about it in a sec.
No, this.
Oh my god. Conrad finally.
Billy, honey, you two aren't ready for...
So yeah, Billy has a really hard time with Laurel not being present in it, and also just the Susanna of it all. So Taylor actually ends up helping with most of the wedding, to the point that Belly like literally calls it like Taylor's wedding, because it's mostly being planned by Taylor and her mom. From like the bridal shower to invitations to Taylor, like tries to get her to do like her bridal makeup, and she's like, I don't even want to do this. Taylor takes her to go wedding dress shopping, and she's like, I don't want to be here. She actually, it's really funny because like her and some other girl end up in the same dress, and the girl's like, oh my god, when's your prom? And she's like, my prom? She also lies and says that she's 19 because apparently it sounds a lot older than 18. And the girl from earlier stepped out in the same dress I had on, but in a champagne color. She saw me and right away asked, which prom are you going to? Taylor and I looked at each other in the mirror. Taylor was covering her mouth, giggling. I said, I'm not going to prom. Taylor said, she's getting married. The girl's mouth hung open. How old are you? You look so young. I'm not that young, I said. I'm 19. I wouldn't be 19 until August, but 19 sounded a lot older than 18. Oh, she said. I thought we were like the same age. I looked at us in the mirror as we stood there in the same dress. I thought we looked the same age too. I saw her mother looking at me and whispered to the lady next to her. I could feel myself blush. Taylor saw too and said loudly, you can hardly tell she's 3 months pregnant. The woman gasped. She shook her head at me and I gave her a little shrug. Then Taylor grabbed my hand and we ran back to the dressing room laughing. You're a good friend, I said. Her bridal shower, looking oh so happy. Isn't this just the face of joy? Pause there. Pausing here. Because she literally does not want to sleep in the same room as him. Like, she's literally, they get to cousins because after her mom and her no longer speak, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go spend the summer at cousins because the wedding's in August. I'm at a school. You can't fucking stand me, so I'm gonna leave. So she leaves and she goes to be at cousins. And here, Jeremiah wants her to like, oh, come to bed with me. And she's like, no. Conrad went upstairs. Oh yeah, Conrad's here too. We'll get to that. And I waited until I heard his bedroom shut before I said, maybe I'll sleep in my room tonight. Why? Jeremiah asked. I promised I'll be quiet when I get up. Carefully, I asked, aren't the bride and groom supposed to sleep in different beds before the wedding? Yeah, but that's the night before the wedding, not every night before the wedding. He looked hurt for a second and asked in his joking way, come on, you know I won't touch you. Even though I knew he was only kidding and still stopped. That whole thing that they haven't slept together like comes up, right? It's not that. Sleeping in my own room makes me feel normal. It's It's different than at school. At school, sleeping next to you feels normal, but here, I like remembering what it used to feel like. I searched his face to see if any hurt was still there. Does that make sense at all? I guess Jeremiah looked unconvinced, and I had started to wish I never brought it up. I find it so funny. She's like, I can't, it's the rules. Girl, just say you don't want to be with him. It's crazy.
But everywhere I go, there's a memory of Conrad.
So Conrad is also staying at the summer house, cousins, that summer. So him and Belly like spend some time together. We also get a flashback to the last time that they spent some time together. Cue the candy cane.
Belly.
And obviously based on the candy cane, you know, it's winter. So Belly had gone back home for the like winter break and is like, I don't want to be here. So she goes to cousins. As I pull into the driveway, I let out a big whoop. It was good to be back. This was my first time at the house in over a year. I found the spare set of keys right where they always were, under the loose floorboard on the deck. I felt giddy as I stepped inside and turned on the lights. The house was freezing cold, and it was a lot harder to get fire going than I thought it would be. I gave up pretty quickly, and I made myself hot chocolate while I waited for the heat to get working. And I brought down a bunch of blankets from the linen closet and got all cozy on the couch underneath them, with my chocolate-covered pretzel and mug of hot chocolate. While the Grinch Stole Christmas was on and I fell asleep to the sound of Who's and Whoville singing Welcome Christmas, I woke up to the sound of someone breaking into the house. I'd heard banging on the door, then someone messing with the doorknob. At first, I just lay there under my blanket, scared out of my mind, and trying not to breathe too loud. I kept thinking, oh my god, it's just like Home Alone. What would Kevin do? What would Kevin do? Kevin would probably booby trap the front hall, but there's no time for that. And then the burglar called out, Steven? Are you there? I thought, oh my god, the other robber is already in the house and his name is Steven! Oh my god, I love her. I hid under the blanket and then I thought, Kevin would not hide under the blanket. He would protect his house. I took the brass poker from the fireplace and my cell phone and I crept over to the foyer. I was too scared to look out the window and I didn't want him to see me. So I pressed my body up against the door and listened hardly. My finger on the number 9. Steven, open up, it's me. My heart stopped beating. I knew that voice. It was not the voice of a burglar. It was Conrad. I flung the door open. It really was him. I gazed at him and he gazed back. I didn't know I would feel that way to see him again. My heart in my throat, hard to breathe. For those couple of seconds, I forgot everything and there was just him. He was wearing a winter coat I had never seen before, camel color, and he was sucking on a mini candy cane. It fell out of his mouth. What in the world? He said, his mouth still open. I hugged him. He smelled like peppermint and Christmas. His cheek was cold against mine. Why are you holding a poker? I stepped back. I thought you were a burglar. Of course he did. He followed me back to the living room and sat on the chair opposite the couch. He still had a shocked look on his face. They talk about how he's California now. I hadn't seen him since he transferred the year before. He had some scruff on his face and like he hadn't shaved in a couple of days. It looked soft though, not prickly. He looked tan too, which I thought was weird, seeing how it was winter. And then I remember he went to school in California where it's always sunny. And I say this is someone from California. It is not always sunny. That's propaganda. We have winters. Does it like snow? No. But is it sunny? Also no. Change of scenery and go to the backyard because a scene is going to take place here in a little bit. Back to the trailer. We're having memories of season 1 with the infinity necklace. At one point, Conrad does confess his feelings to Belly, like right before the wedding, and she tells Jeremiah the night before, and Jeremiah dips. He literally pieces on out, and we'll get to the little parts that I think have to do with that. But he mentions of that infinity necklace during this time. Someone knocks on the door and she thinks that it's Taylor. It wasn't Taylor, it was Conrad. He looked worn down, exhausted. His white linen shirt was wrinkled, so were his shorts. But when I looked closer, I saw that his eyes were bloodshot, and I could see a bruise forming on his cheek. We see part of that in the trailer. I ran over to him. What happened? Did you guys fight? He shook his head. You shouldn't be here. I said, backing away. Jeremiah's coming up any minute. I know. I need to say something to you. I moved back to the window, turning my back on him. You've said plenty, just go. I heard him turn the doorknob and then I heard him close the door again. I thought he was gone until I heard him say, do you remember infinity? Slowly, I turned around. What about it? Tossing something towards me, he said, catch. I reached out and caught it in the air, a silver necklace. I held it up and examined it, the infinity necklace. It didn't shine the way it used to. It looked a little bit coppery now, but I recognized it. Of course I recognized it. What is this? I asked. You know what it is, he said. I shrugged. Nope, sorry. I could see that he was both hurt and angry. Okay, then you don't remember it. I'll remind you. I bought you a necklace for your birthday. My birthday. He had gotten it for my 16th birthday. It was the only year he ever forgot to buy me a present. The last summer we'd been together in the house when Susanna was still alive. The next year when Conrad took off and Jeremiah went looking for him, I found it in his desk and I took it because I knew it was mine. He took it back later. I never knew when he had bought it or why. I just knew it was mine. Hearing him say it now, it was my birthday present, touched me in the last place I wanted him to touch me in my heart. Is an infinity necklace cheesy? Of course. Of course. Also like kind of cute in like a cheesy way because I forgive Conrad for being corny. Trailer then goes into Belly and Conrad hanging out at the summer house because they'll have dinner and she like makes them dinner and then make her stuff. Jeremiah's cock blocking one of those dinners. But yeah, they spend the summer together because he's also staying at the house, but Jeremiah can't be there because he has the internship with his father. And Taylor stays being Conrad's biggest hater, which I find kind of interesting because in the book, she makes it, Taylor, kind of known that it's like, yeah, she's happy for Belly in the wedding, but she's also like, girl, he cheated on you. What? I have a very hard time understanding why Taylor is going to be so pro Jeremiah knowing this unless in the TV she doesn't know, which is totally possible because they're changing things from book to TV show adaptation. I don't think they would take that because I feel like Belly having someone to talk to about it is like vital, but stranger things have happened. Her in the red dress. Iconic. We love to see it. Okay, this fight between Belly and Jeremiah is the one that happened before the wedding day that makes him run off because he finds out that Conrad confessed his feelings to Belly and she's like, it doesn't matter, I said I didn't feel the same way. And he's like, but you do though. He also brings up that like Christmas winter thing from years ago, candy cane, and he's like, you never told me. I had to pretend like I knew because Conrad brought it up, and now you're lying to me, Billy? And he acts like the victim, which is really annoying. It's like you lied to her about Cabo. At least that's what I think it is because I'm pretty sure that fight happens outside, but here it looks like they're in the bedroom. Without preamble, I said quietly, last night Conrad told me he has feelings for me. I could feel Jeremiah's body go rigid beside me. I waited for him to speak, and when he didn't, I went on. Of course, I told him I didn't feel the same way. I wanted to tell you sooner, but then I thought it would be a mistake. I should keep it to myself. I'm gonna kill him, he says. Hearing those words coming out of his mouth shocked me. He stood up. I tried to pull him back next to me, but he resisted. I pleaded, Jared, no, don't. Please just sit here and talk to me. Why are you protecting him? I'm not. He looked down at me. Are you marrying me to erase him? No, I said. It came out more like a gasp. No! The thing is, Bells, I don't believe you, Jeremiah said, and his voice was strongly flat. I see the way you look at him. I don't think you've ever looked at me like that. Not once. I jumped up and grabbed his hand desperately, but he pulled away. I was breathing hard when I said, that's not true, Jared. That's not true at all. What I feel for him is all memories. That's it. It has nothing to do with us. All that's in the past. Can't we just forget the past and make our own future, just the two of us? Levelly, he said. Is it the past? I know you saw him over Christmas. I know you guys were together here. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Say something. Go ahead. Try and deny it. Nothing happened between us, Jared. I promise you. I didn't even know he was going to be here. The only reason I didn't tell you was... What was it? Why didn't I tell him? Why couldn't I think of a reason? I didn't want you to be upset over nothing. If it was nothing, you would have told me about it. Instead, you kept it a secret. After all that stuff you said about me, about trust, you kept it to yourself. I felt like shit for what I did with Lacey, and you and I weren't even together when it happened. I felt sick inside. How long have you known? Does it matter? He snapped. Yes, to me it does. Jeremiah started to back away from me. I've known since it happened. Conrad mentioned he saw you. He thought I already knew, so of course I had to play it off like I did. Do you know how stupid I felt? I can imagine. I whispered. Should have said it with her whole fucking chest. Why didn't you say something? I asked him. We were standing only 5 or 6 feet away from each other, but it felt like miles. It was his eyes. They were so distant. I was waiting for you to tell me, and you never did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I was wrong. It was stupid. My heart was beating so fast. I love you. We're getting married tomorrow. You and me, right? When he didn't answer me, I asked again. Aren't we? I should go get out of here, he said at last. I need to think. Can I come with you? This time the answer came swiftly and devastatingly. No, he said. He left and I didn't try to follow him. I just sank into the steps. I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't feel my body. What was happening? Was it real? It didn't feel real. Trailer then has stuff that like we don't read about because obviously the show's going to expand on it more than the book ever did. But it's Steven, we see Laurel, Steven and Taylor, the infinity necklace, literal flashbacks of Belly Conrad. Oh, and then Jeremiah, and this is why we're here. This scene, we see Jeremiah and Belly out on the pool on the sofa, right? And then Conrad closes the curtain. Cue the sound, chapter 35, Conrad.
Chapter 35. Conrad. I would rather have someone shoot me in the head with a nail gun repeatedly than have to watch the two of them cuddling on the couch together all night.
I think that's that moment. We got her to do impossible. And we're seeing it all in her head. Okay, the punches, that's when Conrad finally finds Jared the day of the wedding. Yeah, Jeremiah leaves and like they can't find him at all and it's the day of the wedding. So Conrad's like, okay, I'm gonna go try to find him don't tell Belly. Stephen, like, we can't say anything that's happening just yet. He goes to look for Jeremiah and is like, I'm gonna assume that he's somewhere to be close to mom. Like, where could this potentially be? So he goes to the garden because he realizes that, like, he probably go like the grave, but that's in Boston, and Jeremiah's probably not going all the way to Boston at the moment. Jerry's sitting on a bench by the garden, his head in his hands. He was still in last night's clothes. His head snapped up when he heard me coming. I'm warning you, man, don't come near me right now. I keep walking. When I stand right in front of him, I said, come back to the house with me. He glowered at me, fuck you. I'm supposed to get married in a couple of hours. We don't have time for this right now. Just hit me, I'll make you feel better. I tried to pick up his arm and he shoved me off. No, it'll make you feel better. You don't deserve to feel better, but after that shady shit you pulled, I should be beating the crap out of you. Then do it, I said. And let's go. Belly's waiting for you. Don't make her wait on her wedding day. Shut up, he yells, lunging at me. You don't get to talk about her. Come on, man, please, I'm begging you. Why? Because you still love her, right? He didn't wait for me to answer. I want to know is, so I had feelings for her. Why did you give me the go-ahead, huh? I did the right thing. I didn't go behind your back. I asked you straight up and you told me you were over her. You weren't exactly asking for my permission when I walked in on you kissing her in the car. This is season 2 stuff. Yeah, I still gave you the go-ahead because I trusted you to take care of her and treat her right, but then you go ahead and cheat on her in Cabo during spring break. So maybe I should be the one asking if you love her or not. As soon as I got my last word out, Jared's fist was connected to my face. Hard. It was like getting hit with a 10-foot wave. All I could hear was the ringing in my ears. I staggered back. Good, I guess. Can we get out of here now? He punched me again. This time I fell to the ground. Shut up, he yelled. You don't get to talk about who loves Belly more. I've always loved her, not you. You've treated her like garbage. You left her so many times. You're a coward, even now. Admit it to my face. Breathing hard, I spat out a mouthful of blood and said, fine. I love her. I admit it. Sometimes I think she's the only girl I could ever be with. Scream for the Belly Conrad community. Okay. Oh, this is zoomed in like crazy. Okay. But Jared, she picked you. You're the one she wants to marry, not me. So you think. I pulled out the envelope from my pocket, stumbled up, and he pushed his chest. Read this. It's for you. It's for mom. For your wedding day. Susanna wrote them all like letters for their wedding days. Belly gets one. Obviously, we're about to see Jeremiah get his. Or is he?
Or is it?
Talking so fast. Am I talking super fast? Can you play me at like 0.75 speed if it's too fast for you? Jeremiah then makes back and Belly's like, oh wait, does this mean there's gonna be a wedding? Isn't it bad luck for you to see me? There's gonna be a wedding. At least talk about what happened. I don't want to talk about it. Jeremiah snaps. I don't even want to think about it again. Well, I don't want to talk about it. I need to. I'm freaked out, Jer. You just left. You didn't say anything. I didn't even know if you were gonna come back. I'm here, aren't I? I'm always here for you. He tried to kiss me again. This time I pushed him off. He rubbed his jawline roughly, then stood up and started pacing around the room. I want all of you. I want every part, and you're still holding back from me. What are you talking about here? I asked, my voice shrilled. Sex? That's part of it, but it's more than that. I wanted your whole heart. Be honest. I'm right, aren't I? No! You think it's supposed to make me feel knowing that I'm your second choice, knowing that it was always supposed to be you. Talk about that, huh, Jer? I realized looking back, I saw a clip of season 1. They're doing like a flashback of them as kids, and like the casting for Steven, the casting for Jeremiah. It's so clear that this is the Belly Conrad show. They're not even pretending. Okay, let's continue. No, she says. You're not my second choice. You're my first. Jeremiah shook his head. No, I'll never be first. That'll always be Con. Hits his palm against the wall. I thought I could do this, but I can't. You can't what? You can't marry me? My mind is spinning like a top. And then I start talking fast. Okay, maybe you're right. It's all too crazy right now. We won't get married today. We'll just move into that apartment. Gary's apartment, the one you wanted. I'm fine with that. You can move in second semester, okay? I didn't say anything, so I said it again. This time more panicked. Okay, Jer? I can't. Not unless you can look at me right now in the eyes and tell me you don't still love Con. Jer, I love you. That's not what I'm asking. I know you love me. What I'm asking is, do you love him too? I wanted to tell him no. I opened my mouth. Why wouldn't the words just come out? Why couldn't I just say what he needed to hear? It would be so easy to just say it. One word, and this would all go away. He wanted to forgive and forget it all. I could see it in his face. All he needed was for me to tell him no. He would still marry me. If it's just one word, one word. Yes. Jer inhaled sharply. We stared at each other for a long time. Then he inclined his head. I stepped towards him and filled the space between us. I think I'll always love him a little bit. I'll always have him in my heart, but he's not the one I choose. I choose you, Jeremiah. All of my life, I have felt like I had a choice. When it came to Conrad, now I knew it wasn't. I did have a choice. I chose to walk away, and then now I choose Jeremiah. I choose the boy who never walked away from me. His head was still bowed. I willed him to look at me, to believe me just one more time. Then he lifted his head and said, that's not enough. I don't just want to be part of you. I want all of you. My eyes filled. He walked over to my dresser and picked up the letter from Susanna. You haven't read hers yet. I didn't know if you were coming back. He ran his fingers along the edge, staring down at it. I got one too, but it wasn't for me, it was Con's. My mom must have mixed up the envelopes. In the letter she said she only ever got to see him in love once. That was with you. He looked at me and then, I won't be the reason you don't go to him. I won't be your excuse. You gotta see it for yourself or you'll never be able to let him go. I already have, I whispered. Jeremiah shook his head. No, you haven't. The worst part is, I knew you haven't and I still asked you to marry me. So I guess I'm partly to blame too, huh? No, you asked her to marry you because you cheated, you fucking loser. I'm sorry, that was kind of mean. I apologize. No, I don't. I don't apologize. Where was I? He acted like he didn't hear me. He let you down because that's what he does. That's who he is. For the rest of my life, I'm going to remember those words. Everything Jeremiah said to me that day, our wedding day, I would remember the words Jeremiah said and the way he looked at me when he said them, with pity and with bitterness. I hated myself for being the one who made him bitter because that was the only thing he'd never been. Well, he is now, girl. Well, in the books, they don't make it to the wedding. There's that clip in the trailer of Belly going down the aisle looking like uncomfy, like she doesn't want to be there. And that's why I'm thinking there is in fact going to be a wedding in the TV show. And something's going to stop. Either one of them is Conrad going to like Japril it?
April and Matthew. I have known the two of you for quite some time. And I'm happy to be here today.
I love you, April. I always have. I love everything about you. Even the things I don't like, I love.
The things I would do for a Japril moment, a speak now moment. I said this on a TikTok. I was like, imagine we're here and then all of a sudden you start to hear speak now in the background like softly. Oh, I would eat. The trailer. Conrad surfing. This is Belly running away when she finds out about Lacey. Stephen car crash and Taylor finding out, that's not in the book, so that's going to be new. We're looking a little confused. We have Jeremiah and a couple bros. A bachelor party? Question mark? This is the wedding part. You see, look at her face. She looks like unsure. Which doesn't make me believe that it's her wedding to Conrad because, spoiler, she does end up with Conrad. Now, let's talk about the she chooses herself community because I could definitely see like the semi-finale. Is that what it's called? Like the episode, the pre-finale? Oh man, I'm blanking on the name. The episode before the finale. It's going to be the wedding, right? This is my theory. It's going to be the wedding with Jeremiah. Something's going to happen. The wedding's going to stop. Belly's going to run out. Next episode starts with her being like, I choose myself. We're going to go through that a little bit. And then, maybe like halfway through the episode, we're going to get the time jump to when her and Conrad are already a thing. We're pretty much towards the end of the book. And where does the book end? And at the beach. So here we are. Ooh, can you feel the breeze? Maya and I didn't get married. It wouldn't have been right for neither of us. Sometimes I wonder if we hadn't rushed into getting married because we were both trying to prove something to each other, maybe even to ourselves. But I think no, we truly did love each other. We truly did have the best intentions. We just weren't meant to be. A couple years later. Dearest Belly, right now I am picturing you today on your wedding day, looking radiant and lovely, the prettiest bride there ever was. I picture you about 30 or so, a woman who has had lots and lots of adventures and romances. I picture you marrying a man who is solid and steady and strong, a man with kind eyes. I am sure your young man is completely wonderful, even if he doesn't have the last name Fisher. Ha! Am I gonna get emotional with this letter? Perhaps. No, I could not love you more if you were my own daughter, my Belly, my special girl. Watching you grow up was one of the greatest joys of my life. My girl who ached and yearned for so many things, a kitten you could have named Margaret, rainbow roller skates, edible bubble bath. A boy who would have kissed you the way Rhett kissed Scarlett. I hope you found him, darling. Be happy, be good to each other. All my love always, Susanna. Oh, Susanna, if you could see us now, you were wrong about a couple of things. I'm not 30 yet. I'm 23, almost 24. After Jeremiah and I broke up, he went back to live in the fraternity house. And I ended up living with Annika after all. Junior year, I studied abroad. I went to Spain, where I did lots and lots of adventures. Spain is where I got my first letter from him. Real letters, written with his hand, not emails. I did not write him back, not at first. But they still came, once a month, every month. The first time I ever saw him again, it was another year, at my college graduation. And I just knew. My young man is kind and strong, just like you said. But he doesn't kiss me like Rhett kisses Scarlett. He kisses me even better. There's one thing you were right about. He does have the last name Fisher. I tried really hard to compose myself this entire video. Please let me have this. I am wearing the dress my mother and I picked out. Creamy white with lace cap sleeves and a low back. My hair that we've spent hours pinning up is falling out on the side bun, and wet strands of my hair are flying around my face as we drive. From the car, in the pouring rain, balloons are everywhere. My shoes are off. I am barefoot, holding his great suit jacket over my head. He's got one high but not too high heel in each hand. He runs ahead of me and opens the car door. We are just married. Are you sure, he asks me. No, I say, getting in. Everyone will be expecting us at the reception hall. We shouldn't keep them waiting. But then again, it's not like they can get started without us. And then they run into the ocean. I jump out of the car, hike my skirt up and call, ready? He rolls his pants leg and grabs my hand. Ready. We run towards the water, tripping on the sand, screaming and laughing like little kids. The last second, he picks me up like he's carrying me across the threshold. If you dare and try and belly flop me right now, you're going down with me, I warn. My arms tighten around his neck. I'll go anywhere you go, he says, launching us into the water. This is the start. This is the moment it becomes real. We are married. We are infinite. Me and Conrad. The first boy I ever slow danced with, ever cried over, ever loved. And I cannot wait to see that on my TV screen. Okay? It's gonna be wonderful. But yeah, like I said, I do think that last episode's gonna be her. It's gonna like start her being in Spain, for her studying abroad, getting the letters. We'll definitely see the wedding, because I can't see them like not giving us the wedding. So we're definitely getting that. We do run across the beach, and then we do get like the reception. That'd be really fun. That'd be really cool. And then I would love to see them like in the house, like at the end. I think it would just be perfect. It would just be perfect. So this was the breakdown of the trailer and how it connects to the book, and what I think is going to be there, what I think may not be there. Since the trailer has a lot of flashbacks, I am expecting flashbacks. The trailer doesn't really like show us Anna. I'm assuming she is also going to be here, just because she's kind of an important character. Also, the character of Taylor is a lot more likable in the show and a lot more present, so it's possible that they also just completely drop that. I'm really interested to see like the side storylines. I'm sure Laurel will get a couple, Stephen will have some stuff, just because they really have expanded on the 2 previous books to the TV show. Like, for example, season 1, there is no debutante. Like that's an entirely made up for the show storyline. So I could see them making up an entirely new storyline just to be interesting, because it's like 13 episodes, 12 episodes, something like that. I also would absolutely love if the letters that Susanna makes are in like her voice. Like if the actors came back to do the voiceovers, catch me sobbing. I do plan to do a rewatch before the new season drops, so that's in my plans, because I'm so excited. Even just talking about this right now, I'm like, the wait has been worth it, I guess. And I think it'd be kind of fun to do like an episode versus book. Maybe when there's like 5-6 episodes out, that could be kind of fun. And then one for the finale. So be prepared for more of the Summer Action Pretty content, especially on shorts. That's kind of where I'm gonna be cranking them out a little bit more. Oh my god, just let me know your theories, your stuff. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think that's all for me today, because this video has probably already been so long. I apologize for taking up so much of your time, but I hope you enjoyed it. I post primarily TV show and book related content with the occasional like beauty video, Taylor Swift video. But that is all for me today, and I hope you have a great day and a wonderful weekend. I will see you next time. Bye!